Vampire Vivian versus Hugo Vlad, the other maybe vampire, right? But guys, today what we're doing is talking about Hugo Vlad versus Miss Vivian here. So let's just go ahead and start off here first, going over similar but very different, because both these characters play two completely separate classes and types. Well, they also play some pretty similar roles as well. But hopping into it here, guys, we all know that Vivian is an anomaly ether type character, while Hugo over here is an attack ice type character. Now, as you can see, these numbers right here, 422 and 722, this is the corresponding weakness type in terms of like what weakness types the enemies have versus how many they share, because ice and ether do share a lot of different weakness types. So the 22 you see here, that means that ice and ether share 22 different enemies that have those weakness types together, and then on their own there's 4 enemies in the game that have just ether type weakness or ether paired with something else, versus ice, which has 7 different enemies, meaning in this field right here, if we were to put on how many enemies in the game have this weakness, honestly, Hugo does have the slight edge here, guys, just because of the fact that he does have more enemies that are just weak to ice rather than ice and anomaly. But all in all, I mean, it's a very hard comparison to make, because for the most part, enemies are weak to ice and ether at the same exact time. Now we hop into main DPS, sub DPS, main DPS, stunner. I don't think you can really give a solid win here to either one of these characters, because they both play very different roles in this aspect, and we'll get into more of that with the team section later, because you do have to build them and put them on completely different teams. But overall, what I mean by this is that he helps stun the enemy and gets big bursts of damage out when you stun the enemy, versus her over here, where she is great on the field as a main DPS, you know, getting the anomaly procs and anomaly reprocs off and stuff like that. She can also work like a sub DPS and do pretty much the same thing. So that kind of brings us to the kit breakdown now, and what are the comparisons between the core passives here. Starting off with Vivian first, guys, she's a bloom attack effect. That means whenever you're hitting enemy targets with anomaly statuses, it triggers additional anomaly damage, or technically a reproc. Think of Kafka from Honkai Star Rail, guys, okay? And that leads us into the damage scaling here, guys. You basically are taking a portion of the damage that the enemy took from the original anomaly status and then giving it extra damage based off of Missy Moo here. That's not going to blend very well at all. Missy Moo's anomaly proficiency. So that's how the scaling works there. Now what's going to happen is you put them in a poison state, meaning they take more damage over time, or just an additional ether damage over time. As we know, guys, or if you don't know, we can go ahead and explain this real quick, guys. There are a couple different effects in the game. As you can see here, guys, this is a list of all of the anomalies in the game and what they kind of do, right? So burn, shock, corruption, all are going to be having a DOT effect, meaning they have a damage over time effect, whereas ice and assault both have a single proc, meaning you get this off, like say Piper, for example, right? You get one big proc of assault off, whereas other characters, you get damage over time. So with that being said, guys, you're getting some more damage on top of that, essentially, right? Now hopping into the anomaly interaction here. This is going to be persisting as long as the target is affected by anomaly, so as long as the dot's active, they're also going to be in the poison state for that long as well. So that's really the core gist of how Vivian's kit works here, guys. And you take other people's anomaly and the damage they're doing from those anomalies, and then amplifying that even more, or technically giving double damage on, not double damage, but additional damage on top of the damage it's already doing, essentially, right? Now on to Mr. Hugo's over here, and this is why I say he's completely different, right? Because his core passive really plays off the enemy being stunned. He is a burst type character, or a burst type DPS, meaning you want to be damaging the enemy when the enemy is stunned. As you can see right here, guys, hitting a stunned enemy with the EX charge special attack triggers Reckoning. So basically what the Reckoning is going to be doing is taking a chunk of that stun meter when the enemy is stunned, reducing it to 0, and doing 1 big damage proc based off of that number. As you can see right here, guys, damage amplification. This effect significantly boosts the attack power based on the remaining stun duration, meaning the more stun the enemy has, if they have a longer timer, the more damaging it's going to be. Now, the stun duration scaling, but it does kind of work in a weird way. So the shorter remaining stun grants higher damage increase per second, while longer duration provides a moderate but sustained bonus. And I'm not going to go into the exact multipliers here, just know the multipliers under 5 seconds are higher than the ones over that, but you can technically get more because you can stack it up more. There is a damage cap to this, but overall you can get more damage out when the timer is higher than 5 seconds. Now this will also pair up with the Chantax, Ultimate, and the Reckoning, as we mentioned there before, right? If you hit an enemy previously with it, you'll be getting additional damage bonuses. This meaning you normally want to go into it with a chain attack or an ultimate first and then use your EX skill. On top of this, guys, he is giving himself himself a crit rate and crit damage bonus. Absolutely nice. That makes him that much easier to build. Now let's go ahead and hop into the additional ability section here, because the additional ability also does play a role, but you do need counterparts to make this work. So for the counterparts you need for Vivian, it's going to be either an anomaly character or an ether character, right? So that's not too hard to get. Ether character, maybe a little bit harder to get. You can run Nicole there, which is really nice, and it actually does add a little bit team variety there with her having that typing. But overall, guys, I would say that his additional ability is technically stronger because you can run it with a stun or support allies. I think the plethora of allies there is just a lot more than what anomaly and ether has to offer there, because you're going to full sets of people now versus just typings of people. So overall, I do think his additional abilities mesh well with a lot of different people. Now I will say I think he's kind of kerfuckled to like one team, so this doesn't matter too much, but I just want to let that be known. Now on to what this is actually going to be doing, guys. So basically, whenever a teammate activates an attribute anomaly, you can consume one of her enhanced effects and do a bloom attack. She has off-field damage. This in turn activates that off-field attack, which will then in turn give you the reproc on the enemy as well, which is really nice. She's also going to be increasing the corruption damage and the damage you're doing from the corruption disorder on the enemy as well. On to Hugo's over here though, guys. If Reckoning ends an enemy's stun state, part of that duration is going to be converted into days buildup. Essentially what this means, right, guys, is say you have a days bar like this, right? It is filled up like this. You take this bar, you reduce it to 0, right? Bam! Oh, we have a nice little bar here. It's empty. So normally you would just reduce it down and you have to build it back up again, right? You gotta go and build it back up, right? But essentially what this is going to be doing, guys, is it's going to go, you know what? We took that full bar away, but you know, we're going to give you back a certain percentage of it. So we're going to give you this much meter back, and then you only have to work up this much now. Instead of working up the full bar, you're working up a reduced amount of that bar. So that is going to be really good and helps him out a lot with getting to his burst status. So additional ability there, really good for him as well. I just kind of wanted to compare what both these kits do to show you how different they are and how similar they are as well, because they're both main DPS. They can both be ran as a main DPS. They just differ in the sub roles they play. I consider him more of a stunner, whereas I consider her more of a sub DPS. So it's very hard for me to give it a distinct win to one or the other here. So hopping into the free-to-play viability here, guys, I see these characters like this. I see Vivian as one for all, like All Might in this bitch, and I see HUGO VLAD as all for one, meaning he takes all the power for himself and he sucks everything away from me, right? So what do I mean by this, guys? The teams. It's really the teams. For him, you have to have a team built for him. There is no shot around it, right? You need stunners on the team, that either being Lighter or Lycon. Honestly, you run both of them on the same team and you get the best in slot team for him. You really do need stunners on the team to make him viable, and you need a team built just for him. Whereas, while, yes, I think that Vivian does need an anomaly character on the team to really make her pop off. It says that from her additional ability, right? I do think there is one team in the game that you can run outside of this and it can work, but overall, she can fit in any anomaly team, meaning you're not kerfuckled to just using like certain buffers on the team, right? Meaning you can throw her into really any comp and she doesn't have to be the star of the show, right? She can be that sub DPS on that team. So whenever you get characters come out in the future that are stronger than her, that are anomaly type characters, you throw her in the team, she can help reproc and do more damage with that. Overall, really insane, really good. So with that being said, guys, I kind of want to go over both the teams right here, right? So I can quickly go over the teams they can actually work on here, starting off with Miss Vivian first. So as you can see here, I have Anton, because I do think Anton and Grace do, okay, I don't know what the fuck that is. I do think Anton and Grace and Vivian all work on the same team together. Like, this can work pretty well, and the reason why I say this is because you can have Grace consistently get anomaly off on the enemy, or proc the anomaly on the enemy, while you have Anton go and use his EX special attack a lot, which will then trigger her ability to reproc that shock damage as well, and then he's also reprocking. So I do think Anton will become better in this update, and I cannot wait to try a team with him. Maybe I'll recreate a guide for Grace as well, because I do think Grace will come in clutch her as well, with the amount of anomaly she's able to put on the enemy and the damage that it can actually do. But this is by far not her best in slot team. If we're talking about her best in slot team, guys, that's going to be a team with her, Yanagi, and probably either Trigger, if I had to guess, or Astrial, right? It's probably Astrial if I had to guess, right? You get full damage bonuses, everything like that, which help with the anomaly damage. So I would say this is her best in slot team right here, which is a very, very expensive team. But if you look here, guys, there are a lot of 4-star options you can use here, and I'm sure you see one option here, which is Julian, right? This is the 10% team I was talking about, right? Because I do think a team with Julian, Vivian, and Nicole would work. The reason why I think this team works so well, or can work, right, is because you have Vivian on the field being your main DPS. She's your main DPS whenever she's not in the field, right? So you have Nicole here to give you defense shred, also helps with anomaly buildup. Then whenever you break the enemy shield, Wow, you broke the enemy shield. What do you have now? You're going to be having Zhuyan now come into the fray, and then Zhuyan will then become your main DPS. So this is why I think this team can work out so well, is because of the fact that you have Vivian on the field doing the main DPS damage when she needs to do main DPS damage, but whenever Zhuyan swaps into the field, you're not losing any damage really at all, because you're getting the increased damage with someone like Zhuyan. On top of that, you're able to get the extra procs off from Vivian's Blossom as well. In my mind, it does work out pretty well. You might call me Kobe in the comment section for that team, but I do think that could be a team, and I cannot wait to try that team either, because I have Zhuyan on my account, and I really want to try and see what that team does. I'm going to moving on to the other side here, which is Hugo's teams, because you can basically see how that works, right? With Hugo, right, I see him having a couple different teams as well. Starting off with his best in slot team first, which is Hugo, Lighter, and Lycon. Now, the reason why this team works so well is because you get a lot of stuns on the enemy, right? He's kind of like a sub-stunner, which gives you increased buffs. He does a lot more stunning in my opinion, but also gives you buff as well for your ice-type characters. He gives you buff for ice-type characters. He gives debuff for ice-type characters as well. So all around, just a really good team. Break the enemy fast. That is the goal here. And also, Lighter is going to be increasing the stun timer as well, meaning you just do more overall damage with Hugo too. So all that's his best in slot team. But I know you probably see Mr. Ben Biggerton and Coletta here, right? Now I do think that Hugo and then Ben and Coletta can work here as well, because Ben Biggerton will be enhancing Coletta's stun, right? So that's really good. He's also going to be giving you a crit rate increase as well, which is really helpful for Hugo here. You also get chain attack damage increase as well, which also helps Hugo because you want to be chain attacking anyway. So really good there. He'll be chain attacking a lot essentially, okay? So this can also work there too. I think the stonks for Ben Biggerton might just rise here. And then on to some of our like off-field stunners, right? You have Pulcra, you have Trigger, right? I think both these characters work really well because he can work like a main DPS, right? He's supposed to be on the field most of the time, so having Trigger, Pulcra on your team does help out a lot. So with something like this, right, you can maybe mix in like a Lighter, you can maybe mix in a Lycon here, right? You start breaking with them. They also assist with the breaking, so you can break the enemy down faster, because that basically means you have two breakers on the field breaking the enemy at the same time, right? And as for these other characters, these are just some supports you can run. So if you wanted to run one breaker and then one support, you could also run that as well. But you really want to be using two breakers at all time, in my opinion. Fight me in the comment section down below if you don't think that's the case, because I would love to hear your opinion on that, but that's how I see them. Now, on to the build section here, guys. Now, I think the build section is a telltale sign here, because she has already a set built for her. Like, the new set in the game, the Melody set, is quite literally built for her, guys. This set is literally, like, it increases anomaly mastery and then increases ether damage by 25%, and then also it will be increasing anomaly proficiency, which is everything that she needs, guys. This is literally a set built for her, whereas he has no set built for him at all. None at all. It's kind of weird actually running him, because there's no like set that like he really loves. So for that matter, I mean, I think this is a win for her. Also, you need to focus on less stats than him. He needs crit rate, crit damage, attack percentage, whereas with her you really just want anomaly proficiency and attack percentage, so overall that's pretty good too. In the W engine department as well, guys, you have two free-to-play A-rank W engines you can run her, and they actually work out really well on her. Whereas with him, there's not like a free-to-play W engine that I absolutely love, other than the free-to-play Marcata Desire. That gives you increased crit rate, which is nice. I mean, that's the only one that I can really think of that I would love running on him. Maybe you can run the BP one, but that's not free to play, obviously. So I would say for the free to play viability section, I would honestly say that she does win this. Maybe not by much, but I do think that she does win this section here, just by a little bit over Hugo. Now onto the future ability section here, guys, which is where it gets really sussy. Guys, she is going to get stronger with future iterations, meaning the more characters they add in the game, the more anomaly characters they add in the game, the stronger she is going to get, because when you have increased anomaly damage, she can reproc that, and the more she can reproc that, the more damage your team gets. She can be ran as a sub DPS, and then she comes in and helps reproc that damage. Really nice there. She's also sub DPS as well, like we kind of paired up with that too. You can run her as a sub DPS in the future. She does not have to be the star of the show. And that's where I think he falters at, and we'll get to that in a second here. But overall, I do think he can get better with a dedicated set. If he gets a dedicated set that maybe helps with chain attacks, maybe helps with the type of damage or the niche, the archetype of damage that he's doing, I do think that can help him out quite a bit. That will give him an inherent buff in the future if they do end up giving him that set. Now, on to the amazing damage bud. He does great damage right now. He has great multipliers right now. My problem with Hugo VLAD, guys, is that I just don't see a future for him. The reason I don't see a future for him, guys, is if you go over just to the tier list right now, right? Guys, 2.0 is coming, right? He cannot be the star of the show, and that's the only thing they can do. The reason that is because you already see the steal list here. Miyabi's here. What is she? A Void Hunter. What are we getting in 2.0? A Void Hunter. And what is that Void Hunter going to do? Blow him out of the water. So in terms of his viability, I can see him being a top tier DPS for maybe 3 patches to 4 patches. So you have him for 2.0, 2.1, 2.2. I think 2.3 to 2.5 is what we'll see the next Void Hunter at. So that's when he starts falling off. Whereas with her, even if we get a new Void Hunter in the game, which will probably be like an attack type character if I had to guess, which outclasses him even more, it doesn't really fall into the realm of anomaly, right? So she can still play in those anomaly teams. So she still has more value over time. If I were to put on a chart, I think that her value is more so like this. Whereas I feel like he has like maybe a higher starting point. But it drops off a lot quicker in my opinion. Anyways, guys, Hugo VLAD versus Vivian. I do think the better pickup for your account is probably Vivian, especially if you have invested into anomaly characters already. Though I don't think that Hugo VLAD's the worst option in the world. I feel like he is the future of what burst type characters look like, and honestly, he's really good. Has really high multipliers. You get some better breakers, he becomes even better. More breakers with more buffs, he becomes even better with that, right? So all in all, I do think Hugo and Vivian are great options. I just think that Vivian is a little bit better in terms of the longevity, and that's what I want for my account. I want someone that's going to work for a long time for me versus someone that's going to fucking pop right out the gate and then temper off a lot faster. Anyways, guys, that's my thoughts. That's my opinions. What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comment section down below. I'll try to get back to them if I can. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Hugo's better? Do you think Vivian's better? I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. So yeah, see you guys later. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and see you in the next one later. Bye-bye.